Well, it's time for our second wash on the Mans Creek hopper cars, and for this one we're going to use just some Artist Tube acrylic paints. And I'm using here the Liquitex Basic line of paint. It's just a real cheap student type acrylic paint. And you can get these whole tubes for just a fraction of the cost of the little tubes. You can feel free to use any acrylic tube paint. I'm just showing you don't have to use anything real expensive. This is the two colors I'm using are burnt umber, and this is Mars black. And then I switched brushes. This brush is just a little bit stiffer than that last brush we used, and then for the thinner, I'm not using water. I'm actually using just a regular old jug of the blue windshield washer fluid. And all I do is I just take the cap off. You can see this cap is already well weathered inside. And I just pour obviously you could use a cup or something, but I always just use the cap. We don't need much. And then I get something and put a couple drops of the acrylic on there. We'll obviously use a lot more than this, but and I'll show you how I mix these. I'm going to kind of change the camera angle here so you get a better view of what's going on. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is get my brush a little wet with some of the windshield washer fluid, and not too wet, and start drawing out some of the black. And you want to get it so it's kind of a I can hold this up here a little bit. It's real liquidy, almost like a really thin paint, but not super watery, if that means anything, kind of a technical term there, right? And then we're going to take some of the brown, the burnt umber, and we're going to bring it into the black. And this is the color you're looking for right here. I don't know if you can tell. It's kind of a muddy brown-black color. You can see it's got some it's kind of transparent a little bit, but still it has some body to it. This is the exact kind of color we're looking for. So when you draw it onto something, it should look like that. What's nice about using the windshield washer fluid is it breaks up the surface tension. This is just a sheet of plastic I'm mixing this on it. You can see it doesn't draw away and make open spots like it would if this were water. So this is what we're looking for right here. So when you mix that, you'll have to kind of keep coming back because it'll keep evaporating on you, and you'll be using up the brown and the black as we go here. But we're looking for that mixture right there. And then we just start with the car, and we just start flowing this on here. And you got to make sure with this, it's not as runny as the black ink and alcohol, so you have to make sure it gets in all the corners and everything. You can see I'm not even following the grain. It'll blend out. Now if you want to have a little bit of extra rot somewhere, you could take a little dabs of black in there, and that'll blend that out. And that'll make a nice kind of dark rotten spot there, and get that black back to the muddy brown color. And you can vary this as you go here just to create some variety. A little more, sometimes a little more black, sometimes a little more brown. But what I would suggest you do is that start from an area and just keep working your way around. Don't leave an edge that will dry. You'll get a hard line there. You don't have to work real fast, because even if it starts to dry, you can kind of go back over it a couple times and it will loosen it back up a bit. But if it dries too much, it'll be a lot harder to loosen. So just keep working your way around the car. I'll get this whole side done, then I'll go and off camera I'll finish it and we'll let it dry, and I'll show you the end color we're looking for. If you think you got a little too much brown, you want it to be a little more black, just go ahead while it's still wet, mix up some more black, and then just come on top of it there. So make sure you get in all the edges and corners. And hopefully we can get this in one shot. Sometimes I've had to do it in two, sometimes I've left it one. It just depends on what you're looking for when it dries. If you want it to be darker, like it's a fresher car. These cars were creosoted after they were built, so I imagine when they were first built they were probably pretty dark. But has anyone seen an old bridge that had creosote on it or something? You can see how it weathers pretty light in some places. Some places it stays pretty dark. Make sure you get up under the car too. Get on these parts here. Just go over the whole thing. You can even go up in here if you want. You won't see that, but what the heck, we're already getting it up in there. And I'm not sure really why the India ink wash is required at first. I wish I knew the reason why, but I've tried to avoid it and don't really get the same results. Probably just because it tints the wood underneath a certain way. I don't know, it makes kind of an interesting pattern on the wood. I think that kind of shows through. I think it's one of those things where all the elements together is what makes the result at the end, even though they're all slight. So that's what we're going to kind of do. Just go around the whole car. Don't forget the doors and those footboard pieces. Go on the inside too. That tends to be obviously the easier one there. And wash that whole inside out. If you end up getting just too much water going on here, or your brush is too wet, go ahead and dry it off and just get back into this kind of muddy mix here. A little too brown on that one. There we go. So go around the whole car and we'll come back and see how it looks when it dries. Okay, here's my car after it dried. I went back a few hours later after the initial coat of acrylics had dried, and I gave it another coat, a little bit browner this time. I wasn't exactly as happy with the color. Sometimes that AI wash can do some different things, and this one kind of made a more spotted pattern. I've had this happen a couple times. So I just added a little more brown and went over it. Kind of got it a little, I don't know, more wood color. It's an interesting finish on this one. Every time I've done these, they've been slightly different. I've mixed it up and tried a few different things from acrylic washes for the black and the brown. I've done AI black with AI brown. I've done some Hunter line washes. They have some colors. They have a creosote, and then they have a brown wood and a black wood and a gray wood. I've used those, and they all kind of get the same finish. Some are a little different than others, which is nice. The variety is nice, but they all kind of have a similar tone, which I think is good. But the only I'm kind of based, when I first did this, I just based off of what I thought the wood would look like, and then after I've done several of these, a book came out with the only color photo that I've ever seen of a Mann's Creek hopper, and you can see that in the back. Kind of brown, kind of dark color wood, so that would be something you could shoot for too, or just a weathered wood like we're doing works well. I'll show you a few of my other cars just to kind of show you the different finishes that have happened. Some of them even using the exact same technique. Okay, here's a car, number 21. You can see it's got that same kind of wood look, the spots in the back. I think it's a real good look with the kind of brighter rusted panels on it. This one has a steel door. You can move down here, number 22. A little bit similar, but you can see it doesn't have as much spotting on it. It's got a lot smoother tones on the wood, especially on the inside. Here's number 20. This is the first one I ever did. This was just AI washes. It had no acrylics. It was probably about 3 washes of the black AI. Here's number 9. This was some AI washes, and some acrylic. You can see number 30 is kind of similar to the one we just did there. Another one that's a little different. Look at some of these in the front here. Here's one that's a little even darker. I put a lot more black in the acrylic washes on this one. Here's number 8. So, interesting variety is nice to have. Just gives them a kind of their own individual look.